In this video, we are going to refactor consume operations with using iHTTP client factory class and getting the token. In our MVC client application, we had developed movies CRUD operations and pages accordingly. So now we should replace these execute codes with calling protected APIs. And every HTTP call will require to getting token and send request with token. So we should make generic code design when getting token for a lot of HTTP calls. In order to make a good design, we are going to use delegating handler. Delegating handler will intercept our HTTP request, and when HTTP request is intercepted, we can get token in one place and add the authorization header. So let's take an action. As you can see that we have the old codes and we have creating the two HTTP client, one for the getting token and second for the consuming the API movies. So it is not a good practice. We are going to replace these codes and make more generic. First of all, these token operation will be performed for the all of the consume API operations, so that's why it should be in a generic place. And after that also we will refactor with calling movies API some of the preparation with the iHTTP client factory. So first of all, we will inject to iHTTP client factory. Let me open in here, because for now every CRUD operation will be HTTP call. So we will make more generic with using the iHTTP client factory. Instead of using the DB context object, we will use the iHTTP client factory object. So go in here and you should create a new iHTTP client factory object. Okay, as you can see that we have a read-only object, and now we are injecting this operation into the constructor. You can generate or you can write your own. So by this way we have injected HTTP client factory into the movies API service. So with this object we are performing the consume operations more easily and more properly. So after that we can develop our get movies method with the HTTP call. So let me come here and say that way 2. We are going to comment all of the codes in here. Of course, actually we can remove this one, and we are going to comment this line of codes. Okay, I have commented that. Yes, now we will write our refactory code. So we can summarize the consume operation of movie APIs. Here there is no get token operations because we are going to handle this operation from the handler with the interceptor. So I'm not going to get token now. I'm directly call the consume operation. When the HTTP consume operation performed, we are intercept these HTTP requests and adding the token into the delegating handler. But now let me focus on the R operation. Let me say that this should be the way 1. Okay, first of all I'm going to create client from the HTTP client factory. We can, instead of we are creating a new HTTP client, we are requesting this HTTP client from the HTTP client factory with giving the name. That's all. It's now ready and configured. It will be have a configuration with the movies API client, and it is creating HTTP client with configured for the movies API client. So after that I'm only give the what URL I am going to perform. I said that we are preparing the request message, and we would like to get method, and get method should be the locate API movies. As you can see, I am not providing the URL because the URL configuration will be handled in this configuration. I will show you later. So after the preparing the HTTP request, we are getting the response with only using this HTTP client.send async and passing this request object as a parameter. And of course we should perform the configure await and the other functions. By this way we are reaching the response object. So it's the same way we are exception handling in here with ensure success status code. And finally we have a deserializing object with this response. It is the same as the previous video. We are reading the content as a JSON, and after that we are converting, deserializing this JSON into our list of movie object. So that's all. As you can see that we have focus on our logic. We are creating a channel for our API project. Now let me show you, we are in the movies API, and in here we are consuming this API project, and we are providing the request object and send async and ensure it is working fine, and after that we are deserializing the object. So as you can see, it is more clean code, but of course we should provide the token information. But before that, let me explain. We should register the HTTP client object with target API configurations. It is good to configure when registering the object in the one place and the first place of the creation. So that means we should make this configuration into the startup CS and configure services. So let me come to the startup CS for our MVC application. So under this dependency injection, we are going to inject our configuration with HTTP client. For that purpose, let me go to the end of the application, and first of all let me copy and paste, and I will say in here. So we are going to register our HTTP client operation, right? So let's focus on this line of codes. I will explain. Let me import the namespaces, what it's required, header names. Okay, very good. So in this line of codes, we are adding the HTTP client with the name of the movies API client and the configurations providing in here when creating the first time. So it is very good to use into the dependency injection, because this HTTP client create one place, and once it is creating, it is also pre-built configurations can be provided into the dependency injection. So that's why I said that I should have a movies API client object, and this client object should be provide these configurations. The important configuration is the base URL, base address. Base address is indicating to our movies API project. So by this way, I am not providing this URL again and again when I am consuming this movies API. So after that, I will give some of the additional configuration you can use or not. So the another thing is authentication delegating handler. We added the HTTP message handler for intercepting HTTP requests in order to get token and add to authorization header. By this definition, every HTTP request intercepted our message handler class. So that's why we are creating a new message handler class, which is name of authentication delegating handler. I'm going to now let me create this authentication delegating handler class. Let me copy the class name. So under the movies client project, first of all, I would like to create a new folder which name is HTTP handlers. So let's click the project, right click, add new folder. The folder name should be the HTTP handler. So under the HTTP handler, now it's ready to add new class. You can add new class into that folder. I'm going to add authentication delegating handler. Yes. Now this will be our interceptor. And that's why I'm going to inherit from the delegating handler class. This class comes from the system HTTP and provide to intercepting the HTTP request. The importing is okay. Now let's check our startup CS and make sure that this import statement is using statements. Okay. So we have finished our registering our movies API client. By this registration, we have provided the pre-built configuration. So it is gain to advantage about using just one line of code and only consuming what method we should want to consume. We are focusing on the logic into the our service classes and provide the configuration into the startup classes. And also we have a authentication delegating handler. We give the add HTTP message handler extension method and passing this delegation handler into this delegation handler. We are going to intercept the HTTP request and provide get the token from identity server and set the token authorization header of the HTTP request. So we will develop this handler class for the next video.